Welcome to the Undiscovered Gems podcast, hosted by NBA legend and business powerhouse Charles D. Smith, highlighting today's best and brightest business minds.
Hello, and welcome to another show of Undiscovered Gems. Today we have someone from Huntsville, Alabama, and we'll save her name for last. She's a professional of the year, a psychic medium, and energy healer. She heals people from emotional and physical trauma, and I think everybody living on the planet has that. Welcome, Alisha Baldwin, our professional leader. Alisha, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
I am doing very well. Thanks for joining the show. Alisha, gotta know, how did you get to become a psychic medium and energy healer?
So first I was born with medium abilities. I remember playing with ghosts as a child in a farmhouse we lived in at one point. But I kind of tucked it away after that, joined the military after getting out of the service. I felt lost. What I thought would be my lifelong career ended shorter than expected. And I started delving into me and the spiritual path. And that's when it really began for me to start on the path of mediumship and psychic. Mm-hmm.
Now, I know the audience is probably saying, playing with ghosts when you're younger, well, did they go away? Did they stop right there? Did they follow you? Did you ever have any experiences after that before you got into this?
I did. So the ghosts, they eventually went away. In our household, we talk about the blue ball. When the blue ball popped, the ghost went away. I used to play with the ghost in the ball. They were children just like me at the time. And my mom could recount hearing us run up and down the stairs and things of that nature. They never went away. I went after kind of tucking it away from playing with them. I saw more of the orbs that people will see and catch on film. I could feel them energetically when they were around, but it wasn't so much seeing them anymore at that point.
Right. So that when you got older and you look back at those experiences as a child, you realize you had some gift or something was going on, and you realize you're a medium. So talk about your work today. What is it that you do for people when you say you're an emotional, physical, and trauma healer?
So what I do is I, first of all, set up a space where you feel comfortable, you feel safe. And that's a space that we all want to be in when we start addressing things that are deep inside of us. And so I set up this space and then allow you to come with your questions or your concerns. If you're in pain and it's a chronic pain, let's get to the root of that. Where's that chronic pain coming from? What kind of emotional baggage is exasperating a physical injury? Let's get down deep into that. And when we do that, we learn to, one, love ourselves, which I feel is one of the hardest things we learn in our existence, is how to love who we are and not compare to others. And so It teaches you how to do that. It also teaches you how to positively talk yourself and manifest your future through positive thinking instead of having something happen like, oh, this is the worst I've ever experienced. This is it. It's over. I can't. Reframing your mind to where I can get through this. This is just a small portion of my life. It's going to teach me a lesson and be better on the other side. And so we do a lot of that during my healing sessions.
You mentioned the term love yourself. Do you feel that most people that you deal with have an issue of actually knowing and loving themselves?
I do. And I started in that too. The word I use for it is shadow work. So our shadow work is that person we stick down in a box and we kind of hide them away, emotions, feelings, events. That's our shadow. And we all kind of have those things we don't want to talk to other people about, things we don't want to bring up because it's better if we just push them aside than address them. And so that shadow work is actually addressing those things, which is the hard thing. And when we do that, we learn lessons in each one of those events. We weren't responsible. The guilt is unfounded. We need to give ourselves a break and some grace and allow ourselves to have just experienced it, learned a lesson, and moved on. And one of the hardest things is looking inside and being truthful with yourself so you can be truthful with everybody else.
Interesting. And it's hard to find people that you can be emotionally safe with to talk to about those things. I
Yes.
think people, couples and relationships, I think men and women, as you mentioned, carry those things that the spouse doesn't even know about, and it
Mhm.
manifests itself in relationships, friends, families, associates at work. And you can never put your finger and pinpoint why a person is behaving or doing the things that they do. Um,
Yes.
so those are deep rooted issues. Those are the stuff that down in the gut that nobody wants to deal with. How do you create a safe space for somebody to talk to you about that? Because that's very challenging. And then once the emperor has no clothes and they're right before you, how do you then take them along a journey? That's some serious work.
It is. So the first thing I do to set up the environment is one, when we have a booking scheduled, a reading or an energy session, I will contact you beforehand so you can speak to me. Let's see if we energetically match, if you feel comfortable with me, because that's going to really dictate how well the healing or how well our session goes. And so I break the ice ahead of time, allow you to contact me. You have questions leading up, you have questions, the morning of. If you come in and you're just like, hey, I'm not comfortable, we'll discuss it. If we need to reschedule, we can. And if you just don't feel
Right.
comfortable, we'll do other things. But the environment is in my office where I'm sitting now. I always have a very calm tune playing. So when you walk in, it kind of just breaks down that barrier of terror, just terror and fear. And as we walk through things, I think the trust really builds when I invite your spiritual team, which is who I work with through all these sessions,
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
contact me and my spiritual team. And when they start telling me things that only you know that we're making a connection. And this means we need to work through this. And the beautiful thing in my sessions is I get actionable things you can do to help yourself move along that path. I don't just tell you and say, oh, good job. Okay, out the door. We talk about it after. I give you ways in which you can work through it, how to shed it and release it, and how to move forward from that.
Hmm. And you have almost, three different ways of working that I am not familiar with, and maybe people in the audience is not familiar with. So give us a snapshot and break down psychic, mediumship, and how you work through energy.
We'll start with mediumship. So that was my
Hmm.
first. That's seeing the spirits that were once physically here on Earth and have either crossed over or kind of in between the crossing. And we
Hmm.
speak to them, and that's normally messages to help provide closure, or for us on the physical side, they come through to give us messages to help us move on. Or if there's unfinished business, you also see that on the medium side, and we help resolve the business so that they can cross over to the spirit. When I speak on the psychic side, that's more of your, I like to call them higher messages. So when you come in and think about more career, or what am I going to do 10 years? Do you see me doing something? Or is this passion of mine something that I should continue to follow? Those are more spirit side messages. I'm not contacting someone that's moved on from this physical realm. I'm actually contacting your team, which stay in spirit. And so that would be your psychic level. And
Hmm.
then on the energy healing side, that is sourced from many areas. One, I invite your spirit team to come in. I
Hmm.
act as a conduit, so I allow them to work through me, because your spirit team is with you from the moment of conception. The moment you're going to come in to this world, your spirit team is there with you. So they know you better than I do, better than I can get to know you in 30, 40 minutes, an hour. And so I
Hmm.
invite them in. I often will ask for archangels to come in, and then we will move through and they direct me where you need to go. And during that, I will often get psychic messages, that bigger picture message that we talk about, to help you heal and move forward.
Well, what do you mean by a archangel? You invite archangels to come in. What is that?
Yes. So we know archangels from the Bible. Archangel
Mm-hmm.
Metatron is a beautiful archangel who will come forward and put you in a golden light, a cube of golden light that helps heal you on a spiritual level that is above capabilities that I know. And so I invite
Mm-hmm.
him in to do that really deep seated healing. And then he will also stand by and help direct if you need. I don't know if you're familiar with chakras, a certain
Yes.
chakra, which are your 7 energy centers. He'll let me know if we need to work there, and then he just kind of departs. But he's the main one I do call on when I do my healings, because that's kind of where he focuses.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So now, we understand what those 3 types of services that you um, provide. What are some of the obstacles that you had to go through in order to make that connection with all that you're doing? Because I'm a firm believer that someone who becomes an expert at something had to go through some things for them to connect emotionally, educationally, socially, and adapt to become an expert. So share with us what are some of the challenges you went through to help your progress?
So one of the first challenges, like I said, was when I was in the military. I planned on making a career, and I was medically retired after 10 years. And then I transitioned to working for the government and was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I was fine with going to the next career. I'm a very passionate person. When I get a
Hmm.
job, I want to do the best I possibly can. And
Right.
so I involved myself deeply in my job. I thought I was satisfied there. And I got diagnosed with cancer, acute myeloid leukemia. I ended up having to go through treatment. I went through a bone marrow transplant. And I would say
Mm.
that that experience was the one that propelled me to really get into the energy, the healing side of it, where I was more just on the psychic medium prior to that. Um, and I wanted to bring a passion and compassion where people didn't feel judged by what they were saying. They didn't feel judged by their past, so they can move from that and heal from that. Um, I wasn't sure how to do it, but I did become a nurse. I was a nurse for 3 years. Sorry. I got an injury, ended up to where I couldn't be a nurse anymore. For those that are listening may know it, complex regional pain syndrome, RSD was another word for it. And it's a nerve issue that they say never goes away. It gets worse, it progresses. And once I was able to, I started doing self energy healing. And this is what really taught me how to source the energy, how to ask the angels to come in. And I have had controlled pain, not on medication, through my energy healing with inviting the angels, inviting the spirit team, and really believing that we are all connected to God, to source, our universe. We are
Hmm.
all interconnected to it, and we are
Hmm.
able to tap into that when we believe it and live it.
Mm. Yeah, that's I agree with you 100% there. Um, so your business is in Huntsville, Alabama. Um, how is business? What's your capacity for treating, um, daily, monthly? What's your day like? What's your week like in your business?
So capacity, I max out at 5 a day. Energetically, it is a lot of energy to start moving and flowing. I
Hmm.
have release periods in between where I journal and release the energies to help myself and so that I can help the next client. Um, so I haven't even added up how much that is. 35 a week would be max for a week. And again,
Hmm.
that's just so I can keep myself healthy and provide the best service for clients. Um, there are times that there's a local shop in Madison, which is a neighboring town, called the Hippie Butterfly. I do go there as a physical person if you don't want to do online, but I also do online of all my modalities, psychic, medium, and energy healing. I do over the phone from the distance. It's just as well as being physically with me. I'm sourcing the same people. we're doing it on spirit side. And so it's just a rather, do you want face-to-face or not?
Alicia, I'm just curious. You mentioned it. It's a lot of energy expended on your part to deal with other people's emotions. What do you do for your recharge? How do you, after 1 day, 2 days, how do you get to full strength to be able to service your clients?
One thing I do is I make sure to block off time for me throughout the day. That's just me to not do business, not doing it, just to breathe. Because we all need
Okay.
those moments. And you have to make sure you take care of you if you want to take care of anybody. So I do block off time. There are 2 days that I'm off to have specific family time. So there's 2 days I schedule where I'm just focusing on my family because I need to give all areas of my life attention. And so I'm learning to manage that. The thing that I love to do once I have a client is I call it releasing, journal releasing. And it's taking all that energy that I brought on and I just start writing. Doesn't matter what you write, doesn't matter if it's pretty or sloppy. It's just a matter of putting it to page, your pen to page, and letting it come out.
Sure.
And it is a beautiful way to just release all that excess energy, emotion, everything that you've experienced, and you just let it go as you write it out.
Yeah. So I also think of the fact that you mentioned you work with a lot of people. There can be people that come to you that have really deep, dark, negative energy that's strong. Have you ever had to not work with a client because they had so much that it was expending your energy to the max on dealing with this particular person or group? Did you ever have to like pull back and not work with a person or maybe work with the person every once a week or once every 2 weeks because you knew that they were carrying a lot and you could feel the weight of it? Can you talk about a situation like that?
I honestly have been fortunate to where I haven't had that experience. I am on Insight Psychics. It's a co-op. So there's many readers on there, and we have a group where we can talk about challenges we've faced.
I see.
And there are people that they do face that challenge. But what we find important is that you protect your energy. So what I do is I only allow a certain energy level or a certain vibrational level when they come, especially into my home office, so that it's not going to dramatically negatively impact me. It's telling spirit, this is what I can handle. Give me what I am capable of handling energetically, emotionally. And then we're not going to cross that line. And so when you set that up and you put that intention out there, your spirit team listens. So when you walk out the door, if you're getting overwhelmed going to work because it's just person after person, it's a lot of noise, set up that energetic shield, that energetic boundary that says only those of positivity can come in. Only those that want to get help, that want to heal and be better for their lives and like make their life better can come forward. And that kind of helps me guard against the really full negative, not wanting to heal. They're just kind of going through the motions type of deal.
So how do you know that? How do you know that that's what you're experiencing? How do you, is it a feeling? How do you know?
As far as the energy, is that what we're speaking of?
Yeah, as far as dealing with someone like that, or you have to, like you said, you have to protect your energy. How do you know you got to put the shield up? I got to protect myself with this one. How do you know?
It is an intuitive feeling. When I contact anybody, I get a sense of whether, for very basic terms, good or bad, right? Whether you're positive or negative. That's your thought process. Your energy you're putting out is either the world is out to get me or I'm here to conquer the world, like good or bad, however you want to put it.
Sure.
And so I feel that exterior push of what someone's putting out. And if their mind frame is straight negative and they're coming to me as a client, we first have to address, why are we always framing negative? And so I talk about how you reframe your thoughts to manifest your positive future instead of being in the doom and gloom of it. And I've been in the doom and gloom before coming to full acceptance of my gifts. I've been in the dark, deep depths of gloom. And so it's I do recognize that energy, but I know they can help get out. If you want help to get out, that's what we are here for as energy workers and energy healers. We're here to help you get better and get out of that dark space you're in.
Right. The group of readers that you have that you mentioned, has anyone mentored you in your early years going through this process? Do you have mentors today?
I do. So I've had one mentor. Her name is Beth Lane. Actually, she is the host of all of us on Insight Psychics. She has been in the business for 25 plus years and found that when we come out into this business, the big thing we miss is the community. You have your coworkers when you physically go to work. That builds your community and kind of keeps your morale up. For psychics and mediums, when we come out to this, you're kind of isolated because that community doesn't exist. And so it's a beautiful platform where she has built a community for us to feel supported throughout what we do.
Right. And is that now, are you reciprocating as well and providing mentorship to some of the newbies coming into the business?
I am. I never thought of myself as a mentor. And then one of them said, "Thank you for mentoring me." And I was like, did I do that? Oh, you're welcome.
And you hear of mentors in corporate America and how they work. I'm wondering if it's the same here in your line of business, because I'm going to give you an example of creating a codependent relationship when you mentor someone, meaning that you're spending time with the person, you're helping them move along. However, you're answering all the questions for them, and then they really can't go off on their own because it's a codependent relationship. I got to go back to, let me ask Alisha, she'll tell me. But in your business, you're dealing with emotions and healing. How do you help them move along for them to operate and function on their own, where they get the same feelings and they can do what you do? The energy coming in and all that. How do you push them along? Because you're dealing more with emotions and feelings here.
Yes. The best thing I do when they come to me, I ask them questions back. They're going to ask me a question. I can answer it for you, or I can challenge you to actually process what you're asking me, because you have the answers inside of you. It's the easy way to go get a quick answer. But when you sit down and you think it through, you're going to learn more than me telling you. And so I actually will ask a question in response to whatever specific situation it is and ask them, well, if that happened to you, how would you feel? Do you think it was something like this? And let them just kind of talk and walk themselves through it. And they typically come up with their own answer. I didn't have to say it. I just had to make you think. Just thinking a little.
Right. And I'm thinking also that you have to have some sense of compassion, emotional intelligence, dealing with people, because your business to me is a lot based on emotion and feelings. So, can somebody be in your field of work that does not have compassion, that is not emotionally in tune with themselves? Can you still be in your field of work?
Specifically in my field, probably not as far as energy work goes. When you're not in tune with yourself, the thought is you're working from ego. So you're from yourself. You're not from higher. And you have to separate ego when you do this line of work.
Good point.
So it's very important that if you come to somebody for a reading, that you do your own assessment on them. Think about it. How do I feel when I walk up to them? Do they make me feel nervous? It's probably not someone you want to go to because you're reading energy without knowing you're reading energy. That's our gut feeling telling us this feels off. That's probably a reader you want to just set aside and figure out, was it you shouldn't get a reading, or was it that specific person? And that's just how we kind of delve through, I guess, each person we encounter.
Yeah. So I come from a professional sports background where the synergistic abilities through all the professional athletes is you can't care about your opponent. You're sort of you have no compassion. You're in tune to go out and just kind of work to annihilate somebody, and you can't care about them. Yours is the opposite, I think. What are some of the synergistic values that the people in your field of work have that you can say we're all like X and Y? What are those qualities?
We're all supportive. The ones that I've encountered are supportive of each other and our clients. Majority of us have been in a situation that you're going to ask us about. So we come from a non-judgmental standpoint because we've been there, and we can impart not only the spiritual knowledge, but a personal knowledge of this is kind of what we did. Our thinking brain is telling you this, and this is what spirit's saying. And just the sense of loving everyone we connect to. And I know that sounds really cliche or weird, but we have a love for humanity, just every human being across the board. And so when you contact us, we just want to spread that love. We want you to know that you are loved and you're cared for and supported. And we want you to share that with somebody else. And so that's because humanity is just so important to us, to all of us, and helping humanity grow.
Right. So you give your clients an option to work with you or not during your intake, and making sure they're comfortable with you. And then you have a sense of humanity where you take on the client, they'll feel the love to be able, in that safe environment, to be able to share and open up to you. We're coming to a close here, and what do the clients look forward to when they knock on your door and they feel they need help? They're listening to the show. They say, I want to go see her. What could they expect once they knock on your door and you say hello?
First thing is inviting. I'm very compassionate. I want to hear what you have to say. And because I work in spirit, the things you tell me, I don't get to know after that. It's like it's wiped from my memory once I release. It's a very private and confident thing that we have. Most of the clients at the end, we have tears because they feel like they did something. They worked through something with me. And now they can go out and conquer whatever it is that they felt held back from conquering. And so you can expect to feel some sensations of warmth and healing and love. And you can feel a sense of mental clarity and an ability to move forward and make big things happen for yourself.
Great. Alisha, Professional of the Year, Alisha Baldwin out of Huntsville, Alabama. For those of you who are listening via audio and may have sight or vision problems, her website is www, all one word here, insightpsychics.com. All one word, insightpsychics.com/Alisha, Alisha. Alisha, thank you for being on the show. Your insights were invaluable.
Thank you.
Really great at what you do. You are an expert. Thank you for joining, and hope to have you come on the show again.
Thank you so much.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Undiscovered Gems with our host, Charles D. Smith, highlighting today's best and brightest business minds. Brought to you by Pods Entertainment Group.